Hi, my name's Orville Johnson, and I'm here to teach you some blues fingerstyle playing for JamPlay.com. In this lesson, we're going to start out introducing the alternating bass style of picking, and I'm going to use the song Railroad Bill to introduce this idea for you. And in another lesson, I'll actually teach you the whole song, but in this lesson, I want to concentrate just on getting the alternating bass going, getting it happening, and then being able to play the melodies with a little bit of syncopation. So what I mean by that, we're going to, as I say, we're going to use the song Railroad Bill. So the chords that we're going to need to know are C, we're going to need to know E, and F. And this is the way that I play the F, by hooking my thumb over the top of the neck to get that low string. And then we're going to want to know a G chord, a G7th. So that's all the chords we need to know. Now the alternating bass, the sound that we're actually trying to get at by having this alternating bass thing going on is almost like a piano type of sound, in the sense that, you know, the way a piano player plays a tune, he'll play with his left hand, play bass lines, while with his right hand, in the higher registers, he'll play melody lines. And so we're trying to get that same effect with this alternating bass, but we're separating. Instead of using our left hand and our right hand, our left hand is kind of busy because it has to be fingering all the chords and everything. So we have to sort of separate our right hand into two sections to play the bass and the melody. And so the way we do that is by making our thumb our dedicated bass player, and then using our fingers to pluck out the melody lines on the higher strings. And so here is the tune, Railroad Bill, and I'm just going to play it. I'm just going to kind of play through the chords to start with the alternating bass, and I'll just sing a verse rather than playing the melody at first. So it'll go like this. Railroad Bill, Railroad Bill, never worked and you never will. Won't you ride, Railroad Bill? I'm going to do that one more time for you. Railroad Bill, Railroad Bill, that son of a gun never worked and he never will. Won't you ride, Railroad Bill? So everything I'm doing with my thumb there, let's inspect that a little bit. So I was playing the 5th string. I'm holding my C chord with my left hand, play the 5th string of my thumb, then the 4th string. Both of those notes I'm already fretting. Then to alternate the low notes of the bass, I move my ring finger of my fretting hand over to the 6th string at 3, play that note, and then play 4 again. So the sound slowly. So that's what I'm doing on the C chord. I'm trying to get that Railroad Bill, Railroad Bill. Now I switch to the E chord. Never worked. Now I'm going 6, 4, 5, 4, 6, 4, 5, 4. Now I'm changing to the F chord. And he never will. Oops, a little buzzy there. So now I'm just going 6, 4. Won't you ride? So I'm back to my C alternation, going 5, 4, 6, 4. Now I'm going to change to my G chord, 6, 4, 5, 4, and then back to the C. 5, 4, 6, 4, 5, 4, 6, 4. So that's what I would like my thumb to do constantly throughout this tune, is to play those bass notes. So let me just play all of that together for you one more time. We're just playing the bass. Railroad Bill, Railroad Bill, never worked, and he never will. Oh, right, Railroad Bill. Okay, so that's our bass part. That's the alternating bass. Now we want to try to put the melody with that. So the first thing I'm going to do, just if you haven't done this before, this will probably take a little practice. And it's one of those things that I've found in teaching this for people who haven't really tried to get the alternating bass. Kind of the way that this will progress is you will try to do what I just showed you how to do. You'll become very frustrated. You'll keep messing up, and it'll be really hard to do, and you'll just think, man, I'm never going to be able to do this. And then one day, after you've practiced for a while, suddenly you're just going to accidentally be doing it right. And if you notice that, like instead of, letting your frustration get the best of you, try to make sure that you notice when you start doing it correctly and notice what that feels like. And then try to keep doing that. And amazingly enough, it's like once you sort of accidentally do it right a couple of times, suddenly you'll be able to do it, and then you'll just be going, God, that's not so hard. Why couldn't I do that? So it's one of those techniques that it just sort of happens suddenly. I remember a friend of mine who's a great harmonica player told me that, and who teaches harmonica, told me that this happens when he tries to teach harmonica players how to bend a note, because you have to make a certain shape inside your mouth, to make a note bend on a harmonica. And he said it's really hard. You can't show anybody because it's inside your mouth. And so you have to try to explain it, and then people just do it, and it sounds like a room full of cats getting their tails stepped on, and then suddenly you accidentally do it right, and then if you do it a couple more times, suddenly you're able to do it, and then you just go, man, that's not so hard. Why couldn't I do that? Alternating bass is like that. So don't give in to your frustration. Just practice it until you hit that moment when you start being able to do it, and you'll be able to do it. So we've got the bass going. So now let's try to add some melody notes. And to start with, I'm going to play all the melody notes on the beat, so that every melody note that I play is going to happen at the same time that my thumb is picking a note. So it'll sound like this. I'll try to approximate the melody of Railroad Bill while I do this. So did you hear how that sounded? I played every melody note on a beat and with a note that my thumb was playing. So let's explain that. That first melody note was the first string at the 3rd fret. So and then open. And see, every one of those notes came with a thumb stroke. And same way when I went to the E, So that's the way to kind of get started, just so you can get the idea of playing the melody note with the alternating bass, concentrate on keeping your bass going, and then plucking those notes on the beat. Now you might notice that sounds pretty stiff. You wouldn't really want to play the song that way. That's not really the way the melody goes. The melody is a little more, it's the same notes, but some of the notes actually come in between places where your thumb is playing. And so that's the challenge, is to be able to play those melody notes while keeping your thumb going when the melody notes actually come in between your thumb strokes. So they're not, it's not at the same time. So that's where you really have to develop the independence of your fingers from your thumb, so that your fingers can do a different thing than your thumb is doing. So let me demonstrate that for you, and I'll try to play it slowly for you. And so notice that now the melody notes, not every one, but a lot of the melody notes are going to come in between the thumb strokes. So see, that was a mixture. So let's look at the first passage. So let's slow that down. The first note came with the thumb beat. That second note comes in between the time when I pick the 6th string with my thumb and then I pick the 4th string with my thumb. So let me try to slow that down for you again. And see, the next note came on the beat. On the beat, not that, oh, sorry. So you see in that little section right there, for every 3 melody notes, 2 of them were on the beat and 1 was in between the thumb beats. So let me play the whole thing for you slow again, and now you try to notice where that comes. And if you need to look at it on the tablature to see what it looks like, you can scroll down the page. There's some supplemental content there that has some tablature and music of this stuff written out if you'd like to look at it. But I think it's really good if you try to learn by hearing it and watching my hands while I play it, but mostly try to get the sound of it in your ear, because really that's what music is all about. It's sound. So I'll play Railroad Bill for you again, the melody slowly with the syncopated notes. So work on that with the main idea being that you get your thumb working independently of your fingers, and at first you're able to play those melody notes with your thumb beats. Play it in the non-syncopated way first, just to get used to your finger doing something at the same time your thumb is doing something, and then try to integrate those syncopated notes in so that now you're getting your finger to do a different thing than your thumb is doing. And if you just work on that for a while, pretty soon you'll be playing the alternating bass. And in a subsequent lesson, I'll teach you that whole song with some other variations. So have a good time with that.